basically I would help someone who is either have a building or don't have a building yet, to find out what are the necessary steps to open an assisted living.
To be zoned for residential / business.
Conditional improvements.
Okay. So like all right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you help with that?
I help with all of that.
How long does that normally take when they are looking to get zoned?
So anywhere, the whole zoning process is different. So like someone can get zoned, like the zoning approval letter within like 2 weeks. Other times it could take 2 months. It depends on the city and what they're requiring. And then it depends on if you want to stick with what's allowed or if you want to do the conditional routes. So usually the conditional routes require more information. So it would depend on that. So the zoning process and the licensing process are two different things. So zoning is just the initial step to know, am I even allowed to do this?
Right.
And then the licensing process is a lot of home conversion. Like, what do you need? Like sprinkler system, for example. Now we're converting the home. We're adding things that are required to be added in order for the home to be okay for licensure for that type of thing you're trying to do in it.
Girl.
Right? So then...
Okay, wait, I have a question. So, there are all of these things that could be added. At what point does a person fully understand what they need to be added? Because it's their first time. They don't even know all of the possibilities. How do they... Where does that information come from?
From me.
So what is it, a conversation, or is it like, how does this happen?
It's both. So it would be an initial conversation to find out what you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
And then based on my knowledge and experience, I would tell you, okay, so you will need this, and that. You will need about X amount of money based on the size of the home and all of that stuff you're trying to do.
Do they need the property before they come to you, or are they coming to you? I have an idea. Where are they?
It could be both. So ideally, if I were to say which one is best, come to me before you actually start anything.
Wow.
Yes. Because I would then explain to you what you need to look out for and what you can avoid.
Because they could possibly get a property that they have to do way too much to when they could have maybe gotten something else.
Yeah.
Made life easier.
Yeah. And then some people they will start the installation, the conversion process before they get zoned. But had you speak to me, you would have known this is what to look for. And if they send you this is what you do. And I can sit with you in the zoning meeting and then we can achieve the goal. So ideally, what I do, I have courses that educates about what the process is. So ideally, someone would get the course and learn the entire process of what they're going to go through.
Okay.
So now you understand from step 1 to step 5, everything you will go through in the beginning, and you will be able to assess for yourself whether or not you're ready for this. If you have a current home already, you would know what to do. Like you would know to reach out to zoning, what you need to say, templates of what you need to provide. And if they give you X, Y, and Z, what does that mean? All of that. So it helps me because I don't have to spend all of those one-on-one time that I don't really have the time to do. And it helps the client because now they can gain so much knowledge without paying the fee of coming to me for like an hour or 30 minutes and then get an hour's worth or 30 minutes worth of the conversation when they can sit on their own space and learn what they're going to go through and figure out what they're going to do with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were doing all of that.
I do all of that.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why we connected, because I see that you love education. And you love, I'm just speaking for you right now.
Thank you.
You love seeing people making progress, fulfilling their dreams.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's really what happens. Like me as an educator in my entire life, it wasn't just, oh, I can make money from teaching you something. Like some people will think of it like that. Oh, you get to make money, but before making the money, what's really at the forefront is helping someone to fulfill their dream, to have the easier route instead of all of these stumbling blocks. So where does this come from? Have you already been in trouble trying to figure this route out? And then what kind of trouble did you have?
Yeah, well, personally, I help with coaching, the one-on-one coaching, telling you each step of the way, what needs to be done, telling you, bringing things to reality. Because sometimes people have this idea of what they're going to do, but what they're really going to do is a whole different set of things.
Yeah.
So we talk about the realities of what's going to happen and what you need to do to prepare. And it set the stage of how I'm going to help you and how we're going to work together, because I can't do it by myself. You can't do it by yourself without the expertise. I mean, you could, but it would take you too long, and nobody want to do that. And so basically, I would help someone who is either have a building or don't have a building yet, to find out what are the necessary steps to open an assisted living. And then along with that, I do a lot of do for them, like their policies, their procedures, their files that they need to do for their inspection. So it's the coaching, letting them know what needs to be done, and then coaching throughout the way of how do you overcome this, and that. And then towards the end, I do a lot of done for you for them.
Oh, wow. Tell me some of the mistakes that you've made so far.
Oh my God. Listen, I'm always making a mistake.
Yeah. All right. Before your mistakes, you said you helped them with getting like the property as well. So there's some background there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So because I'm a real estate investor, like earlier I was talking about how when I got into the business, it was like my husband's idea, and it was a trial and error. Let me try it. My risks are pretty minimum. It's my property. It's, everything belongs to me. And, and so it was more so if I succeed, oh my God, this is great. I'm really gonna enjoy doing this. I love the seniors. I love my grandmother raised me. So I have a deep passion for that. And so, but if I don't, I tried it and it's success to me in different ways. That's how I am. And so I'm a real estate investor. And so when someone comes to me, since I'm a real estate investor, both residential, because I have residential property, different rentals, and then commercial, apartment buildings, different things like that. And so when someone hires me to help them open their assisted living, they may not know they also just tapped into an investment world.
Yeah, nice.
But that's one of the ways that I add value to my clients. So what I offer, let's say you went to go find another consultant that is not a real estate investor, that have not been in the rooms that I've been in, because of what I do, the network, and everything else that goes into that. What you will get is different from what you will get from me,
right?
Because for me, I'm an educator. I want to make sure you get this. So one of my requirements is making sure my client is educated. You went through my course. That's a requirement. Because I can help you get your license, but you still need to know how to present yourself to get those high-paying clients. Because when I opened, I got those high-paying clients.
Oh, yes.
And I got them because, of how I presented myself, the things that I did, the things that I said, and I didn't even notice until others started pointing it out to me.
You were just doing your thing.
I was just doing what I thought I needed to do to bring those lucky seniors to me, and for me to take care of them, and for their loved one to feel like they actually have help. So
wow. So do people know you more as the real estate agent or more for assisted living?
More for assisted living.
Okay.
But even though I am a real estate agent, so if you came to me and you're like, oh, Carline, I'm gonna go buy a house, I'm gonna tell you, you need to, right? and here's a realtor that can help you.
Okay.
But you may not necessarily know that I'm a licensed agent, right? And I have all the credentials, all the education. If I wanted to, I could help you buy that house,
Right.
and then we convert it into an ALF.
Mm-hmm.
But because my time is because I do so many things, and I'm very focused with where I put my time, it's not about the money for me. For me, it's about, yeah, I need money, right? I respect that. So, but for me, it's about highest and best use of my time.
Okay.
I know the knowledge that I have and the way that I package it is very special.
Mm-hmm.
So I focus on that, because people tell me, oh my God, I didn't know I needed to do X, Y, and Z. And the way that you said it, and I'm always assessing to see where I am. Am I connecting? Am I still on the same route? And most people don't think about the consultation aspect of the ALF industry like I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I focus my attention there because the need is bigger there. And so, yeah, I do a lot, but mainly real estate investing. I'm very niche down to assisted living. And besides that, I love to enjoy life. Okay. I'm a mom of 3. I'm very homey. You know, I like to be home with my family.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I have an office at home, I work inside my house.
Okay.
I set up my little table in front of my pool, and I'm looking at the water, and the kids are running around doing their thing, or they're at school, but that's what makes me feel good. So I don't want to consume myself. You know, even though I could represent a client to help them find a building, I don't want to do that. I want to, if I have free time, I want to just relax at home, do things do things for nothing, you know. And so that's why, even though some of them have found that I know how to do a lot more, and I have to explain why I can't do it. But for me, it's more so helping people win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Helping people win, helping them do the hardest things. It's hard to find someone with the deep knowledge that I have and everything else that help that deep knowledge. Mm-hmm. So I focus my attention on that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, at some point you have to figure out where you really need to be, what's going to help you to win the most as well, because you know, doing these mundane tasks, you're helping everybody with all the things, and now you're like sitting there like, I spent all my time doing things that I didn't have to do, which brings me to ask you about the group coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I know with group coaching, that allows you to put things in a place for people to see.
Mm-hmm.
And they get all of that information, and then they come to you,
mm-hmm.
and they get what they need from you as the individual. So tell me a little bit about that group coaching aspect. Like, where do they go to get that info from you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on my website, so I have different, like when you go to my website, you will see different pockets of the ALF industry that I assist.
Okay.
And so it would be, for example, you would come to me through the group coaching. It would be the Thriving Circle community.
Okay.
And then we do the one-on-one coaching outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you come in, whatever you want to ask me for that hour that we're together, I'm not going to be like, oh, you didn't pay for that. No, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So one way that I really learned how to structure my business was when I was running the ALF. People told me what they wanted.
Okay.
They're like, oh my God, is that your ALF? And I'm like, yeah. You know how you don't know. You're just doing what you do, but you don't know. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, I went through the process. And they're like, who helped you? And I'm like, I found some sisters.
Yeah.
But I did my own thing. And can you show me? So then I wrote a book. I put it on Amazon.
Oh.
And it's still doing very well.
Okay.
And then people bought it. They read. And then I started hosting free events at the Bahama Breeze. I started grouping people together. And then sometimes I would be the speaker educating them. Other times I would bring different people, just free. You could just show up and learn this knowledge. I didn't ask anything from anybody. It was just my way of educating people, because why? People told me that, oh my God, it's just very tight-lipped. And I learned that because I went door knocking. So I know it's true.
And you didn't get help
And
the way that you needed help.
Yeah, I found some sisters, but it was, I actually had to be very, and then so I started doing that, and then people were like, can you do a course? So I did the course, and then people was like, oh, I went through the course, but I have so many questions.
Right.
So then I came up with the community. And then another sub pocket that I do is I help my clients pass their state license.
Oh.
Yeah. So then they're like, oh, I took the state exam and I can't pass it. Could you show me? You know the stuff like the back of your head. Can you show me? Mm-hmm. And I also took the state exam. Okay. So like, I know what I need to do to help them pass. So finally I put it together. So I'm basically solving my clients' problems as they're asking for them.
Yeah.
Probably because I'm not wise enough to know all of it at once.
Okay.
So then, and that's what I've been doing. I've been looking for ways to, one, help my clients get their license, because I know my clients, they're caregivers at heart. They want to open their assisted living. They want to help seniors. But oftentimes they don't realize you just opened a business, right? So if you have a business, here are the things you need to do. And I'm able to help them because, even though I'm fairly new to the business world, but I feel like I've always been in it through the real estate route. Mm-hmm. So it's like you come to me, you're not knowing, you think you're hiring me to help you get your ALF license, but what you got is a business coach,
yes,
a real estate investor, a mom who understands what you're going through,
right?
And someone who sees business as a whole, but then understand it's okay to make money as well. Mm-hmm. We're not chasing money, but you need money to be able to serve your clients.
It has to be a part of the process.
Yeah. So when I see clients are like lowballing themselves, for example, like earlier you were asking me about how much someone can expect to make.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So how much can one expect? You just want a lower level. Mm-hmm. And you were starting to tell me about a client that has 5 beds.
Yes, license for 5 AL.
Okay.
License. So 5 rooms versus license number are different.
Okay.
So like he is licensed for a 5 resident census.
Okay.
Okay. So like he has a 6, either a 4 bedroom or 5 bedroom home. So what he did was he decided to convert to do private rooms. So private rooms meaning you have 1 resident per bedroom, and then you have semi-private where you have 2 people in the bedroom. So what he decided to do to get the highest and best use of what he's doing, he did private rooms, whereas you have some that are paying anywhere between $4,500 and then $5,500, $6,000, $6,500. So remember I was saying about there is no black and right, yet there's always the gray in between. Okay. And so that's why I don't like to say X amount, but what I would find, newbies in the business will be lowballing themselves, where they should be charging, let's say on average $4,500 for a shared room. They'd be talking about $3,000. And I'm like, no, you're not going to make any money. Okay. You got to pay. Now I'm penciling out what they have to do, right? Now they tapped into the investor's mindset, right? I'm like, you got to pay your mortgage. You got to hire staff. You got to pay yourself, right? If you charge this much, how are you going to make any money? No, you need to charge at least X amount. And then the way you find these clients is X, Y, and Z.
Okay, and that's making me think about that there's got to be some process for working with organizations that bring patients into them, not patients, what do they call? Clients. That bring clients in, and also insurance is involved in this too?
Yes.
So they need that info as well?
Yes.
You help with that too?
I help with all of it. and even beyond the license, because then I will tell my clients, beyond the license, that first year of being in business, you're going to be so confused, especially if you didn't hire someone like me who's been educating you throughout because the whole process can take anywhere from 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
So if you didn't hire someone like me to educate you and say, no, don't leave that property empty, it doesn't require to be empty. When you need to do things that, like the sprinkler system, they're gonna break the walls, some of the walls. Here's what you need to do so that your tenants don't have to leave. Right? How do I know? Because I'm an investor.
You told me about your mistakes with the sprinklers too.
Yes, yes. So it's like, not only have I been there, done that, and I felt what it was like to go through the process.
Yeah.
But because I'm an investor and see that property as an investment account, not a liability, and because I'm like a business mindset type of person, most of my clients are like caregivers. They're not thinking about the business aspects of things. And so even beyond having helped you get your license, now it's a different phase. How do you welcome that first client? What do you need to do? There's a form that you have to fill out, the 1823. Last week, one of my clients sent one to me for me to look for, to see if, so they didn't get in trouble, right? Okay. So it's like, it's hand holding throughout the entire process in helping you navigate, bringing in those first few clients. Mm-hmm. And then within my community, the people that are there, it's just, and I'm not even stingy like that where I would say, oh, you're not in my community, you should be in there. I can't answer this. Okay. I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
So, but the entire process is there. Like if you stick with me,
yeah,
and I know what you're going to go through. And if you can reach out to me and get the help that you need, and I'm sure you're going to succeed. Mm-hmm. And that makes me feel really good.
Yeah. I know it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So when someone is getting started, and okay, here's my question. Do you have people who do this because they have a parent that they actually really wanted to support, and they just say, I want to do this because of them, and they put maybe a parent in? Do you see that?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. A lot of the people that are in the business either have had a parent that passed away and they felt like they could have done something different, and so now they want to help the next seniors. Wow. Right? And then you have others who are caregivers and they just want to do this. They want to, most of them are nurses, people from the medical field. Nowadays we have a lot more investors because Florida happens to be number one for senior hubs, right? For senior care. So you have a lot of investors who have learned about this, and now they're partnering up with other people. Like, let's say I don't want to manage, but I know you want to manage. You're a caregiver. And so I'm going to do like a 50-50 joint venture with you. And that's another coaching thing my clients get from me. They don't always, like if I see you're stuck with money, then I'm going to say, have you thought about doing X, Y, and Z? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are doing that. And then you have people that have parents at home. They want to open an ALF so that they can take care of their parents, and then they'll be able to make a living on what they're doing. So definitely that's something. And this is why I started hosting these events. And now I'm hosting this large
I wanted to talk about the conference. Like, I'm glad you brought that up, because at the conference, will you have some people there that are thinking of investors that may want to make connections with others?
And that's the whole thing. And so when I got into the business, I noticed different things that I needed, and it was so hard to get those things because the lack of community wasn't there. And I started hosting those free events. And I was studying the whole time. Remember, I'm one of those people that I'm going to try and see, and then as I'm trying and seeing, I'm also testing and I'm studying, because I feel like sometimes things can be in our heads, right? We're like, oh, I think it's gonna work. What I think is gonna work versus what my clients may need may be completely different. And so I don't want to make that kind of mistake. And so I was studying and I was watching the people who show up. They were all those people we talked about earlier, like investors who are curious. They want to know, can I find somebody there? I don't want to manage. I don't know anything about ALF, but if I can get a good return, I'll do it. And so I was watching, and in different pockets of the industry, like staffing agencies, placement agents, just to name a couple, they were showing up and they were reaching out to find out when is the next event. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I need to do something bigger.
Yeah.
Right. So I stopped hosting the smaller events, and now we're hosting this big event.
What's the name of it?
ALF Caregivers Conference,
Oh.
Assisted Living Caregivers Conference.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people are excited. I mean, even our tables are sold out.
Nice.
We're like, finally, somebody have put this thing together. And so we started running, we implemented the marketing plan, and started running ads, and even things I didn't even think about started coming to me.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's just like a powerhouse of a room where you have all of these people who serve the same clientele are going to be there, either as someone who wants to invest, someone who provides services to, someone who wants to open their own, and the curious people who want to know, oh, let me see what this is all about.
Yeah.
You know, and even those that are not necessarily like the staffing agency, for example, they may not want to open an ALF, but they want to network with you because you're going to open an ALF.
Right.
And then you're going to need them because you're going to need staff. And then even my sponsors are like referral partners because we all serve the same audience, remember? You know?
I'm wondering the badges that they have. Have you considered, or do you have something on the badge that says who they are, like if they are an investor, caregiver, blah blah blah? Have you thought about that?
I have not thought about that, but I guarantee you the next conference next year, I will definitely have something like that.
Well, you know how you could do it
That's
immediately?
a good idea.
You could create, you can print out some stickers. Have you ever been to a conference where I went to a small business expo, and I remember that they had these little circles, and you would grab the circle that represents like your industry.
Who
so
you
like
are.
Like I am media, and then they have like all sorts of things, right? Categories, and you can take those stickers and you put them on the badge, so it doesn't have to be pre-printed, or they could stick them on their shirt. So you
help me do that.
You can make that.
Yeah,
girl, do it.
I love that.
Listen, because
see why I love talking to people.
Yeah.
You get ideas. I think that's an excellent idea.
Yep, and it would be better to print them and let them stick it on, but they could also write it in. You can say write in
where you're from, what industry you're in.
Who you are, because
I love that.
They would want someone to know who they are and what aspect. Yeah. So that, you know, if they are the caregiver, the I don't know, what are the categories? What was the category? Let's
caregivers.
Okay.
And then you have the investors.
Yes.
And then you have the industry experts, like people that provide services, like placement agents, for example.
Okay.
Staffing agency, for example, generator companies. What else I can think?
Is anyone going to be there that provides supplies for assisted living?
Not as a sponsor, but probably
you
one
may
of the
have
people.
One of the attendees. Yeah.
One of the people.
Because if I was a person who sold supplies, I would come to meet people who need to buy from me.
Absolutely, because that's something that they need on a daily basis.
So maybe we should start putting something out on your social. If you are in a company that provides supplies, we want you to come and network with other people.
I love that.
You got to call them out because, you know,
Okay. I love that. See, that's why I love talking to people, because I feel like we all need each other, but then we all have our own areas of expertise. And sometimes, even for me, I can be so focused on other areas, and then, you know, I miss other things. And that's why I'm like an open book. Like, I feel like if we just get rid of our walls and you have a legit conversation, we can both help each other, regardless of whether or not this is your expertise or not. Like how you just came up with that. You know, that's something I hadn't think about.
Yeah, because the networking is really important. And some people come out for networking more than information.
Yes, me too.
Because truth of the matter is, if you meet the right people,
it will change your life
completely.
Yeah. I go to conferences, quite a few a year. And one of my biggest things is to network. And I literally pray, Lord, connect me with whomever I'm supposed to be connected with today.
Me too.
You know, it's funny to do that.
Yeah, for real, because I don't step out my door to just lose time.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to be everywhere and anywhere for all types of reasons. I'm there for next level.
Yeah.
And on some days I'm like, God help me to help someone else today.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not every day.
It's not every day, but most days.
Yeah, sometimes I'm literally waking up and that's my my goal for the day.
Yeah, to be a blessing. Yeah. One of my affirmation is I am blessed and I am a blessing. Because I feel like everything needs to flow.
Yeah.
Because even, I don't want to get into the Bible, but even you have to be blessed in order to bless others.
Right. It's like your cup needs, you need to have a full cup. And sometimes you can operate off of a cup that's not so full, but it's not the best thing to do. But yesterday I was on LinkedIn and there was a post from Sandy Michael McDonald, who is the director of OESBD.
What is that?
Office of Economic and Small Business Development.
Okay.
Over Broward County. So he's a director. I interviewed him last week.
Oh.
And he was talking about when he shares information, all he really wants others to do is take that info and share it with someone else. So then the next 2 days later, I'm on LinkedIn, he posts something. He was talking about how the Omni is opening up at the the convention center is coming. It's here in Broward County.
Okay.
In Fort Lauderdale.
Broward County Convention Center?
Broward County Convention Center is here, but they're still building. There's more that's
happening.
I
was there yesterday.
Yeah, so you see it's beautiful. And then the hotel is opening up. That's going to be connected to it. And they have their own supplier diversity form that you fill out to be a vendor with them. And there are a lot of things that they need for the hotel. And who knows if your arena with assisted living, something may connect. I can't even tell you what that might be.
Yeah.
But as a business, you want to be a vendor with them. So he put the form out for you to fill it out. And it was a quick form to be a vendor with them.
Yeah, share that with me.
I sure will. So, and it's actually on my LinkedIn page. So I said all of that to say that we have to connect with the right people who have information that's willing to share with others. And then we have to keep sharing it.
Yeah.
So I posted it on my page. And what I did first was, and I put in my post, I put my mask, we're talking about the full cup. That's where I was going. I said in my post, I put my mask on first. And then now I'm posting. So I filled it out myself. And then I posted it.
Yeah.
Because there were times when I would get information and I would quickly share it. But I should have signed up for the thing too.
Yeah.
I'm saying I should have signed up, but I'm busy trying to help the world. Okay, save yourself first.
Yeah.
And then help others.
And then too, you don't know what you're sharing.
Because you didn't delve into it.
Yeah. And that's another thing. People are like,
that's a good one.
Because of what I do, people reach out to me and I couldn't tell you the stuff that I hear. But I think for me, I feel like God have been working on me for a long time to put me in the position where I can help others, to where like certain things don't drive me anymore.
Okay.
You know, like I use an example. Like there was a time when me and my husband, we worked, you know, because money was the driver. We needed to get to a certain phase. But at this phase, money doesn't drive me. Service and feeling good drives me. So then like people will reach out to me, share this. And then sometimes my staff will get that and they'll share it. And then we will get questions on it. Oh, how do I do this? Then I'm like, what did you guys share?
Right?
Did I approve it? Yeah. You know? So it's like nowadays is what you said is completely correct. And I would add to that, the fact that you actually did it first help you to realize what's in it.
Yeah.
You know, and now when someone asks you about it or if something happened, you know what was in it, you know, and I think it's a good thing. You probably didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing you did that first too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so the conference, what's the date, and just why should someone come?
Yeah. So May 17th at the DoubleTree by Hilton, May 17th of this year.
What city?
Sunrise, DoubleTree by Hilton, the one in Sawgrass. Really nice hotel. We have the entire area, and I noticed that I'm in my head as I'm saying that because the audience can see what the area looks like.
They can't see it. No, they cannot.
But people should show up because a room like this have not been put in place. And I know because I did my research.
Okay.
I had been studying for a very long time. I had been putting myself in the right rooms for a while and just was listening to people and studying. And I think possibly some people may have thought about putting a room together like this, but it's expensive to do it in that aspect. And not to say if money is not the driver that it's not going to be able to get done, but you would have to have the cushion to be able to pull up with that risk up front. And so I feel like one of the ways that God has blessed me is he have given me the opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to put this together whether it makes money or not. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. And then of course it's not a free event, but it takes a lot to put something like that together. And there's a lot of expenses that comes with it. And then to be able to do it. And when someone shows up, I know they're going to get value because of the people that is in that room. You know, not to even go into the speakers and the topics and the things that we're going to talk about, but to be able to, all of those small sectors, you know, to be able to see them there, to communicate with them, to walk away with a business card, to have a face-to-face, to be able to want to open an ALF, for example, and you don't have the funding to find a potential partner, to be able to be a caregiver, caring for your mom at home, and mom is getting older, she's forgetting things. You don't know what paperwork you need to do. You don't know what things you need to put in place. To be able to speak with a senior care lawyer right there and get their information and walk away with that.
Senior care lawyers?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There's elder care lawyers. And one of them is our speaker. And she's a sweetheart. To be able, like, and then another thing, I look for heart-centered people. It's not going to be, oh, we're going to sell you out of your shoes.
Yeah, some speakers will try that.
We can't say that because you didn't pay, you know. So I found, so when I was interviewing my speakers, I looked for heart-centered people that are kind of like shared spirit with me. That if someone asks you a question and you say you're there to help, it doesn't matter if they paid you or not. You say you're here to help, you need to answer that question. It can't be, oh, you need to schedule a one-on-one consult.
Right.
You know? So the value that is in the room versus how much someone is paying to come in and still get a hot meal, not a cold sandwich, is just like priceless. You know, it's just priceless.
There was a question I had from earlier, which was I was asking about what kind of money they make, that you know, on a lower level. The question really has to do with what would they be losing if they take too long to open,
a lot,
or if they have to shut down or anything like that. So that's why I was asking for that figure for a month. So let's go back to that real quick. What's a base figure that someone may potentially make that if they don't have the right information, this number is what you're losing, not making, or whatever.
Now that you're that, I actually had that happen to someone that reached out to me. She started her ALF, got the zoning approval, didn't find or didn't hire the proper help. And she told me she watched a building came up and they put up a fence. She was telling me all of this. They put up a fence, right? She watched the building. Guess what they were doing? They were opening an assisted living facility.
What, next to her?
Next to her. And she had no idea.
I don't mean to laugh.
No, seriously. I know you don't mean to laugh, but I also laugh. It's a natural thing.
Yeah, because it's like you're not paying attention and you just, all of the things.
She just lost it. And so she watched that building. So she came to me. My first thing is go through my system. And I'm like, we need to do X, Y, and Z. And she was no longer zoned. She had already installed a fire alarm system, a fire sprinkler system, a generator. And these things are not cheap. Okay? Now, she let her zoning expire, and that building came up and got licensed.
Oh, they got the zoning.
I had to give her money back. I could not
zoning
help her.
has to do with proximity to different things, right?
Yes. I had to give her back her money. And it was the saddest thing to get that money back, right?
Oh.
Because then you're like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And you've spent all this money. Not even, to answer your question, even before you get to the licensing part, if you don't hire, I tell people, find someone you connect with that have done the thing that they promise they're going to help you do, which is achieving your license, and hire them. It doesn't have to be me. Just find someone who can actually help you that have done what they're promised that they're going to help you. So that's one way they can lose. So you tell me.
Okay.
And then the other way they can lose is without hiring proper help. Like my client that I was telling you about that have the 5 residents, like helping them, making sure that they're charging the right prices.
Right.
Because sometimes people think they're new and so they don't need to charge, but you cannot afford not to charge because you're not going to have enough money to run the place, and you got in to have a business. And if you don't charge like you should, you won't have a business.
Right.
So on average, you're looking at $4,000 for a shared per person. So if you have a 4 or 5 clients license, you can add that up. But that doesn't come to your pocket.
Right, because that's gross.
That's gross. Yeah. And then you can get creative. Like that one particular client had extra bedrooms and decided to do private rooms. So now you will need less staff. And so you're making more because now you're putting private rooms. So each room needs to give you at least a good $8,000-$10,000, right? Whether it's per person or you're sharing that room. So if you're doing private versus shared room, you're going to end up making more.
Do any of the people that you work with, do any of them like share staff? And I'm asking.
I believe so. Not my clients per se, but I know that's something that is done for when I used to manage.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm asking that question because at a conference like this, they should be networking to get to know other people who do exactly what they're doing. And maybe they're just a few miles apart. Maybe they don't want to staff full time, but they have a good employee, and then they can literally get them to work here and there to support them.
Yeah.
You know, things like that can happen.
Yeah, that is something that has definitely been done.
Yeah.
Another thing too, so there are different ways that people operate their business. So some of the people that will be at the conference are people who actually have ALFs. And they're there because they want to network, because remember those sub-industries that provide services to them. And then they're there also to sharpen, their skills. And so some of them have chose to manage differently. Like another one that I know, she's a nurse and her ALF is her bread and butter. So she no longer go to her nursing job. She works at her ALF, and she has a part-time caregiver that is helping her with the day-to-day if she needs a day off. So like that part-time caregiver can also be helping somebody else. Right. So the idea that you bring is one excellent one. And I know that within the industry, people do, that is something that they do. So the room is a powerhouse.
Let me tell you what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a time for networking, which I'm sure you have in there. But giving people the space to say, I need.
Yes.
Hey, I need. Like, even if that could be another thing on their badge. Like, it could be another thing they put on their shirt.
Oh my
I'm
God.
looking for, I need. So that as soon as the person walks up to them and they read what they need,
and they see
boom,
what they
connection.
need. Yeah.
But it could be like a networking activity where they just get to say what I need. And
I love that.
I'm excited.
And another thing we added to the schedule is the ability for the audience to ask questions.
Okay, good.
So at the end of every speech, every speaker's presentation is a specific time to answer questions. And then those same speakers, along with others, will be panelists.
Right.
So we have different panelist sessions where either I or the audience will ask the question, and then they will get their questions answered, and then the networking time.
Okay.
So there's time in between, so they can go network, because I understand the networking aspect of it is so very important. And I also plan to have Ripple. Ripple, so that people will be able to connect,
but stay connected.
Stay connected. But even beyond that, with the community that I have, people will be able to join the community and stay connected, because I'm only going to be bringing more and more of those speakers, even though a lot of information I put out for free on YouTube and different places. But it's nice to come in live and be able to ask your questions based on where you are. And it's only a matter of time before you have questions. Once you get to the doing part, you're going to have questions. Right. That's just how it is. So for me, it's not just building a conference, it's creating a community. And I've been creating that community for quite a while, since I left the sheriff's office and I got into the business. It's a really good business, and I really love it. It's hard to find this kind of business where you're making a difference. You feel good about every aspect of what you're doing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and then to be able to make good money doing that, and then I think very selfishly, I used to ask questions about when you were X age, like my age. What did you wish you do? How did you look at life? To get those kind of wisdoms, it's just priceless. Yeah.
So some of the facilities that people have, do they do different types of activities with the seniors? Is there going to be any information about stuff like that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one way, throughout the licensing process, you're required to have an activity calendar. So part of the package that I put together, so what I do is, everything we talked about is when you get to the phase where the agency is coming to do your initial inspection, I put a binder together with everything you need to have in there to pass your inspection. And it's proven time after time. My clients get their license first try. And so,
wait, you put this binder together? That should just be a book that they can. You keep putting the binder together?
Yeah, because it's different.
Oh, it's for different. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Because it's based on what the facility. I mean, the structure, like the backbone, is about the same, but what is in it is different based on client-specific information.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so that's why it's done that way. But part of the binder is an activity calendar. So I would put, based on my experience managing what I know the seniors like, I would put that. I also provide a blank one, so that as you speak with family members, learning about what their loved one like, you can add and you can edit and you can create your own calendar. But yeah, like my last client, she has like a whole beautiful garden outside.
I love that.
Yeah, like nice chairs. I mean, they really.
I like gardening too, but when I started it before, I didn't really have time to like take care of it. So, but yeah, as a senior, I would want to do that.
Activity.
I want to dig in the dirt.
They go out, they have fun, and they stay, and then they sit, and then the whole the whole place is gated. And so, like, of course, you're watching them, but you also want to make sure they're safe. And every aspect is thought about. And it takes someone to actually care more about the person they're serving to think about all of that, you know? So,
well, it has been amazing sitting with you, having lunch, and chatting about who you are, what you have done, the fact that you have a family and you have a purpose behind everything you do. You structured your days to support you and your family. And I think it's just great who you are.
Thank you.
And I'm excited about your conference, and I'm excited that you're bringing me in. Okay, let's talk about that. So, when you decided, when you made that choice to bring my company in, what were you thinking? Why did you decide?
Outside of everything I said, there is one glue of why I make decisions. I love to do business with people I like.
Oh,
if your energy
you like
is
me? You like me? I like you too.
Thank you. So I love to have good energies around me. And of course, I like to make money. Of course, we need money, but making money with people you like is so much more fun, right?
True.
And so one of the things I like to do is, in everything I do, and my husband will tell you, I look at how that person makes me feel, because how you make me feel is how it's like the baseline for how you're gonna make my clients feel. They may or may not need your services right now, but it's like with everything I do, I think about the people I serve, how they gonna feel, because everything I'm bringing in have one connection, which is me, right? And so it's like an overall of what the experience will be like. And I like you, and so I can see myself doing business with you, having lunch with you, right? And so everything I do, everyone that is at the conference, that is a sponsor, I can't control who purchased a ticket, but like the people that play a part of the conference, I like all of them. If I didn't feel the energy, I didn't like it, I don't care how much money they have. It's just not a good fit. And that's why I picked you. I like you as the person, and I see that you have a big heart. You want to help people. And I like that. And so I can see us, doing more together as I host these events. Other opportunities will come up. Some things, I haven't even thought about. And that's why I keep an open mind. I'm a sponge, right? I'm soaking, I'm learning, I'm putting myself in the right places. And even like my sponsors, I could have the room, the whole area full with tables, but I chose not to do that, right? Because I want people to have a good experience. I want it to be about the experience. Yes, they're gonna learn. Yes, they're gonna network, but how do they feel throughout the whole event, even walking out, right? I thought about all of that. And another thing that I did was, let's say you're a staffing agency and you sponsored one of my tables. I'm not gonna let another staffing agency sponsor, right? They can show up, but I feel like it's not about the money, it's about the experience for everyone involved, because I think it's just what's right. I don't think you want to pay me so you can have someone else who do exactly what you do.
Standing right there,
Standing right there, and they both, who wins? I win the whole time. You're going to make some connections, but you're going to feel some kind of way, right? And I feel like if you treat people the way you want to be treated, if you treat yourself nicely, right? And you look at life in that lens, you're going to do things differently. It's about the integrity. Like I gave you my word. I don't care how much someone else has. We've already exchanged words. It's not about the money now. It's about the relationship. And I think,
and those things can be handled differently when your conference is taking up a convention center. And there's hundreds or thousands of attendees. And there's room for that. So that can be different later.
But
But
absolutely.
right now you have a focus. And It's all about the people, making sure everyone walks away happy and gets what they need and all of that good stuff. Yeah. So
and for that size, you're
exactly.
definitely right.
And it will.
Yeah,
it'll be like
will be
that.
There, yeah.
So
very soon.
Look, when I interview you again, you'll have a different conversation about that. But as long as it's portioned properly. Yes. So for me, I'm excited about coming because of one of the things that I do, which is I'm excited about getting on camera, people saying what they got.
Yes, I'm excited about that too.
I know that they're gonna, nearly be in tears speaking about how they know their life is about to change from the information they just received, the person they just met, the thing that they that aha moment that they received, because some of them are already in business. So that's what I'm excited about.
Me too. I can see you walking around.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. A lot of people are excited and extremely grateful as well. You know, for as an immigrant woman, you know, coming from Haiti, having to start from the bottom, being able to learn English, use English, and to look back.
I applaud that, by the way. Seriously, because it takes a lot to learn another language and to speak the other language so fluidly and fluently. Man,
thank
kudos,
you. I appreciate
for real.
That. Yeah. And to be able to do the hard things, but to see the fruits and the results of it, and to feel good about everything you've done. You know, like there's nothing that is like a regret. Oh, I stepped on this person's throat. No, it's like we did the hard work. We did it gracefully. And now we're benefiting the fruits of that. But even beyond that, to see how God is using my life to change other people's life, and it's just priceless to me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll close out our video here. I've enjoyed having lunch with you, getting to know more about you, and I can't wait to do business with you. And I can't wait to see you grow even more, because I can tell that that's not what you're looking at. Yeah. But it's just naturally going to happen, and I can't wait to see it. So
I am looking for that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Good. But I know that's like going to be a result of everything that you do. And right now, your focus is on what's in front of you and just getting these people happy and seeing success. So,
yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening.
You're welcome. Oh, you said.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening.
I was listening.
This was fun.